Jungles are more than just dense clusters of trees. From ancient secrets that tell otherworldly tales,
Chaco Canyon is considered a marvel of engineering because it's a desert landscape,
to the remnants of lost cities and dark mysteries.
We're the first TV camera actually in the world to shoot the face of what may be the world's largest pyramid by volume.
These forests hold countless secrets. Join us as we explore the most unbelievable discoveries ever made in jungles.
Found the silt cans.
Oh, you're kidding!
Wow.
In the deserts of northwest New Mexico lies Chaco Canyon, an ancient city built by Native Americans between 500 and 1070 AD. But why here, in such a harsh and remote place? Its massive structures were crafted from materials brought from miles away, showcasing incredible engineering. Historians believe it was a center for trade, ceremonies, or even astronomy. Yet they mysteriously abandoned it, leaving behind towering ruins. Chaco Canyon is also known for paranormal events, mysterious lights, and electromagnetic anomalies. Some believe a portal exists here, possibly connected to ancient rituals or knowledge long forgotten. Perhaps the builders chose this location because they understood forces we can't explain today, or maybe they left because they encountered something beyond their control.
that the builders of Chaco Canyon may have traveled through a portal to a different dimension because they disappeared mysteriously.
Abandoned building. While flying the drone in the Liangshan Mountains, China, a lady noticed an abandoned building hidden in the cliffs. It looked out of place, far from any town or road, but it didn't look old. It seemed like it was built recently, yet there it was, hidden away in the mountains. She got curious and went to check it out. Inside, she found pools, but they were all damaged, like they had been knocked over or left behind in a hurry. It felt strange standing there, surrounded by the quiet mountains. Who built this place, and why did they leave it? The mystery of the building remains unsolved. Aligned spheres.
This is where the spheres have been recovered. The recovery site.
A tourist was exploring Costa Rica's Finca 6, a place famous for its ancient stone spheres. These massive, perfectly round stones sat in neat rows, as if placed with purpose. Some were small, others were huge, weighing tons. No one knows exactly why they were made, or who put them there. As he walked around, a guide explained the mystery. The spheres weren't just random, they were placed in patterns. Some believe they were used as markers for the stars, or signs of power in an ancient civilization, but no written records were ever found. In 2014, it was recognized as a World Heritage Site. Today, visitors to Finca 6 can explore the museum and outdoor exhibits to learn more about it.
These are about some of the smallest ones I've ever seen right here.
Floating black sphere.
Get back.
You hear stories about animals chasing people in the forest, but this guy's experience was way stranger. He was hiking through the woods, enjoying the peacefulness, when he saw it, a black sphere floating midair. It was just there, hovering silently. The surface was shiny, reflecting the sunlight like polished metal. It might be some new kind of tech, or maybe an alien drone spying on humans. It could even be observing wildlife, blending into the surroundings. He didn't wait to find out, and left the site. Glowing Brazilian plant.
What role those insects are doing requires further study.
Researchers were surprised when they heard about a plant in Brazil that glows at night. Curious to learn more, they started to investigate. Unlike fireflies that use light to find mates, these mushrooms didn't seem to have a clear reason for glowing. Some think the glow started as a way to get rid of toxins. But why did they keep glowing? Maybe it was to attract insects to spread their spores, or it could be a trait left from ancient times. To find out more, they set up fake glowing mushrooms in the wild. They did experiments, but even after all this, no one knows for sure why these mushrooms glow. Witch's Hut.
looking like a witch's hut. Let's take a closer look.
A guy was wandering in the woods when he stumbled upon a strange hut. It was shaped like a triangle, old and worn out. He stepped closer, curious about who would build such a thing so deep in the forest. As he looked up, he was scared. Above the door was a carving, a face with horns. Its eyes were hollow, staring right at him. It looked too real. He felt uneasy, like it was watching his every move. No one knows who built that hut or why. It might be used for something sinister, or maybe it was a witch's hut. Boiling Amazon River.
Boiling River is part pretty hot.
In the Peruvian Amazon, there's a place known as the Boiling River. Locals call it Shanai Timpishka and believe it's home to a powerful water spirit. But this isn't just a legend, it's real. The water is scalding hot, reaching over 210 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than a cup of fresh coffee. Just a touch can cause serious burns. Locals say it boils with the sun's heat and respect its mystical power. But here's the mystery. There's no volcano nearby. So, where does all this heat come from? Scientists are still searching for answers. Some think it might be due to underground geothermal activity, but nothing's confirmed yet. KGB UFO encounter. In 1969, a strange incident happened in the Sverdlovsk region of the USSR. The whole thing was kept top secret, locked away in the KGB's classified archives. Then, decades later, a video leaked online. It showed a metallic craft surrounded by military personnel. KGB agents were seen cautiously inspecting the crash site. This was part of a secret KGB operation that nobody was supposed to know about. That's when the theory started flying. Had the KGB been hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life all along? Some say the KGB had evidence of alien contact, while others wonder if the whole thing was a cover-up. Wells of Nazca, Peru. In the deserts of Nazca, Peru, there are ancient wells called puquios that have puzzled researchers for years. They look like spiraling holes dug deep into the ground, and they're scattered all around the Nazca lines. These wells aren't just random holes. They're part of an ancient water system that still functions today. Water flows smoothly through underground channels, even in the middle of a desert. Historians say the Nazca civilization built them, but how did they figure out such advanced engineering? Some say they had knowledge passed down from an even older civilization. Others wonder if they were guided by beings, not of this world. Water storing tree. A local had heard rumors about a tree storing water deep in the forest. Curious, he decided to see it for himself. When he found the tree, he couldn't believe his eyes. Water was spraying out of its trunk, shooting out with such force that it looked like a burst pipe. The locals were right. This tree was storing water to survive the scorching summer months. It was like the tree had its own hidden reservoir. Nature truly has its secrets, and this was one he never expected to see. Lost Stone Age. Deep in South America, there's a place called Urak Rumi. It looks like a pile of ancient ruins now, but it holds a secret that could change how we see history. Scattered across the site are massive stones with strange shapes. At first glance, they seem random, but they fit together perfectly, like pieces of a giant puzzle. The thing is, historians believe the ancient Incas only had basic tools, but these stones show a level of skill that doesn't add up. It makes you wonder, were they using technology far beyond what we imagine to carve such precise shapes? And if they did, where did that knowledge go? No one knows for sure. Mummified dinosaur discovery. In April 2021, a visitor made a shocking discovery in Tennessee, an ancient carcass lying in plain sight. It looked like a mummified dinosaur, perfectly preserved. The post about it quickly went viral, calling it the Appalachiosaurus. The idea of a 77-million-year-old creature lying there untouched caught everyone's attention. But questions soon followed. How could something so old remain in such good condition? Was it even real? As experts tried to figure it out, another discovery made headlines. In Cape Jervis, South Australia, hikers stumbled upon a 50-foot fossil. It was massive, big enough to swallow a great white shark. These creatures once ruled the earth before humans ever existed. If they were still around today, surviving would have been a different story. Sinister ritual. Two cyclists were out on an adventure, looking for a place to camp after a long day. It was getting dark, making it hard to find the perfect spot. While searching in the woods, one of them stumbled upon a strange symbol on the ground, surrounded by candles. It looked like someone had been performing a ritual there. His friend, feeling uneasy, warned him to stop and leave the place. Just as they were about to leave, strange noises echoed from behind them. Whatever happened there, it wasn't meant to be seen.
Dude, I don't want to camp. I don't want to camp anymore.
Giant Olmec heads.
This monolith is over 30 centuries old and weighs more than 10 tons.
Years ago, archaeologists made a shocking discovery in Mexico. They found giant stone heads, carved with faces that looked powerful, towering over anyone who stood near them. These heads were made by the Olmec civilization thousands of years ago, dating back to 1200 BCE to 400 BCE. Most researchers believe they represent Olmec rulers because of their unique features and the incredible effort needed to carve them. 17 heads have been found so far, each with expressive faces that seem almost lifelike. They wear protective helmets, possibly from battles or the ancient. They're among the most mysterious and debated artifacts from the ancient world and fascinate those who see them.
So this is all stone on stone?
Only stones against stones.
Australian wartime mystery.
Planes were shot down or crashed. They often ended up in the middle of the jungle.
In the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, a teenager discovered a piece of history hidden away for decades. He found the wreckage of an Australian World War II plane. Yeah, you heard that right. An actual warplane from 80 years ago. Scattered across a hillside, the twisted metal and shattered wings told a story of a fierce battle. And get this, human remains were still on board. It's a haunting reminder of the soldiers who never made it home. They say history moves on, but those heroes were never truly lost until now.
Hoping this may bring some closure to some families.
Silkhenge mystery.
Found a Silkhenge.
Are you kidding?
Wow! Oh my god.
In 2013, a graduate student researching in Peru spotted an odd object. There, on a tree trunk, was a tiny, 1-inch wide circle made of silk. In the center stood a taller spire, surrounded by smaller pillars that looked like a mini version of Stonehenge. It was so unusual that people started calling it Silkhenge. Scientists were baffled. After watching closely, they finally saw the answer. Tiny baby spiders began to crawl out from the central spire. But why do they build it this way? What purpose does it serve? Even now, the secrets of Silkhenge aren't fully known.
Come on, this is so cool.
Lost Mayan City.
The first TV camera actually in the world to shoot the face of what may be the world's largest pyramid by volume.
Explorers in Guatemala's dense jungles stumbled upon the lost Mayan city of Mirador. For centuries, it was hidden beneath layers of soil and thick vegetation, completely forgotten. When archaeologists began digging, they couldn't believe what they found. Huge stone platforms and terraces started to appear, forming a pyramid as tall as a 5-story building. It was the largest in the world, built over 2,000 years ago. The craftsmanship was so advanced that it challenged everything historians thought they knew about that time. It changed our understanding of the Maya civilization, revealing achievements that were far more advanced than anyone expected. This ancient city kept its secrets for centuries, but not anymore.
Dr. Richard Hansen says its size is larger than all of downtown Los Angeles.
Metallic debris. Back in 2013, deep in the forest, a local found debris. It was metallic and strangely shaped, just lying there. What stood out was a small, perfectly round hole right in the center. It was tilted, almost like it had fallen from the sky, or maybe even crashed. He wondered, Could this be a piece of a UFO? It just didn't seem like ordinary junk. I mean, how could something so heavy just end up in the middle of the forest? He looked around, expecting to find more clues, but there was nothing, and it made him question what really fell from the sky that day. First pyramid in Amazon.
Civilizations in the past, you could illuminate the whole story of how human cultures came about.
Hidden deep in the Amazon jungle, scientists made an incredible discovery using LiDAR imaging. 2 lost cities named Palenque and Coker. These places were once thriving centers of the Maya and Care empires, but they've been buried under thick vegetation for centuries. It's mind-blowing how advanced their architecture was, even by today's standards. But it wasn't the only thing found in the Amazon jungle. They also uncovered stones in a perfect circle. As they kept digging, platforms and terraces started to appear. Then, a giant pyramid was revealed, and a strange spiral of stone added to the mystery. This pyramid is over 5,000 years old, proving that a complex society lived here long before the Inca or Nazca. Isn't it incredible? Hanuman's footprints. In Sri Lanka, there's a place wrapped in ancient legend, Ashok Vatika. What makes it truly special is a rock marked with footprints, but not just any footprints. According to Hindu mythology, these are the Hanuman G footsteps. The story goes that Hanuman leaped all the way from India to this very spot to meet Sita, who was held captive by Ravana in the garden of Ashok Vatika. It's no wonder that these footprints have become a sacred pilgrimage site for Hindus. They're echoes of an ancient story, connecting the past to the present in a way that words can't fully capture. Beached whale mystery. On the island of Marajo, near Araruna Beach in Brazil, locals found an animal that was out of place. A 10-ton marine mammal was found in the middle of the jungle, far from the ocean. It was lying in a swampy mangrove surrounded by trees. Scientists believe the creature lost its life at sea. Strong waves and high tides might have thrown it inland, carrying it far from the water. It was a 6 feet wide, 12-month-old calf. Researchers believe the mammal was already lifeless before the waves carried it to this strange resting place. We don't know for sure how it got there, but maybe time will reveal the truth. Missing posters.
Look what these are.
While hiking through the woods in Long Island, this guy's day took a scary turn. In Berkeley, Jackson County Park, Huntington, New York, he found trees covered with missing person posters. They looked real, showing the faces of people who had vanished. The scary scene didn't end there. There were cans of food scattered on the ground, and a handmade cage-like structure stood nearby. He captured the unsettling sight before he hurried away, but then he found out the truth. It was all just a setup for a Halloween party. The posters were fake, meant to spook partygoers. Yet, the creepy atmosphere was so convincing that it fooled him completely.
Anyway, I'll cut right to the chase because I might die.
Miniature human discovery.
Skeleton, which we now know as LB1. Or Liang-Bua 1.
In 2003, archaeologists in the Liang-Bua cave in Flores, Indonesia, made a discovery that left them scratching their heads. They found a skeleton, but it wasn't just any skeleton. It was tiny, less than 4 feet tall. At first, they thought it was a child, but nope. It was an adult. Turns out, this was a whole new species of miniature humans. These little humans lived about 60,000 years ago, and even though they were small, they were closely related to us, modern humans. Flores is an island that's never been connected to the mainland. So how did they get there? This discovery didn't just change what we knew about ancient humans, it rewrote history.
How did they get there? How far back do these beings exist?
Hotel mystery. You might wonder how a massive ship ended up here in the middle of dense trunks. Let me tell you its tale. On the island of Ko Chang, there was a strange hotel. It looked like a cruise ship but was stuck on land. People called it the Ghost Ship Hotel, which was once a luxury place but is now abandoned and falling apart. Still, many explorers visited it as they were curious about its past. Then, in December 2024, a fire broke out. Strong winds made the flames spread fast. Firefighters tried to stop it, but they couldn't. In just a few hours, the whole ship was gone. No one knows how the fire started. Some say it was an accident. Others whisper about darker forces, as if the island wanted to erase its past. Hidden Siberian Wall. A hiker was exploring deep in the Siberian wilderness when he found a massive wall hidden by thick plants. It stretched over a mile and stood about 20 meters high, built with large stones so tightly fitted together that nothing could pass through the gaps. He realized this wasn't just a pile of rocks. It was carefully built with skills that didn't match any known history of the area. Who built it, and why here, in such a remote spot? He shared the video online, and people were puzzled. Historians and archaeologists struggled to explain it. Some believed it could be from an ancient civilization. Others thought it might be proof of lost knowledge. Giant bone find.
Esto es un hueso. Es un hueso.
While walking through a quiet rural area, a man noticed an unusual object among the bushes. Lying on the ground was a gigantic bone. It looked like part of a joint, but it was far too big for any animal he could think of. He couldn't take his eyes off it. It looked ancient, weathered by time, yet solid and heavy. The size was unbelievable. He started to wonder, could it be a dinosaur bone? If it was real, that would mean dinosaurs once walked right where he was standing. Space junk discovery.
Just look like garbage, and we get closer and closer, and what is it? It's not garbage.
In New South Wales, a farmer stumbled upon something strange in his field. There, in the middle of the grassland, stood a large, black object sticking out of the ground. At first, he thought it was a burned-out tree, or maybe an old piece of machinery, but as he got closer, things didn't add up. The object was massive, with insulation panels and scorch marks all over it. It looked like it had been through a lot before ending up here. Turns out, this wasn't just any piece of junk. It was space debris, likely from a satellite that had fallen back to Earth.
This is not uncommon, and as we launch more and more stuff, it is going to become more and more common.
Flint Island.
Et ægte troldehus.
A man entered the woods and dared to go where few would. In Horstved Wood on Djursland in Denmark, he found an old house known as the House of Witches. Locals called it that because of the stories whispered about it, tales of shadows that moved on their own, and voices heard at night. It stood quietly near the entrance to the Baltic Sea, between Denmark and Sweden. On the entrance door, there was a lot of graffiti. It was one of the closest settlements that had been vacated during World War II, and said that the spirits of those who were forced to leave still wandered the woods. Restless and bitter, the House of Witches stood silent, guarding its secrets, waiting for the next curious soul.
Peter Madsen Pedersen.
Floating fire. In northern Brazil, something strange happened that left people speechless. Mysterious lights floated in the wilderness, glowing like fire without any visible source. No one could figure out what was causing them. Some thought it was a trick of the light, while others whispered about old legends. They called it demon fire, a ghostly light from Japanese folklore. But how did this strange phenomenon appear so far from Japan? And why did it show up in the middle of the wild? We don't have the answers. And these lights don't seem to like giving any. Mountain Gold Mystery. Amateur treasure hunters were exploring the mountain range, hoping to find something valuable, but they never expected this. There were odd rocks with a strange yellow hue scattered all over the ground. At first, They thought it was just some weird mineral, but soon they realized that these were pieces of gold. They couldn't believe their luck, but the mystery didn't end there. There were no signs of a mine or any human activity around. This sparked wild speculation among locals. Some believed it was a natural phenomenon, while others whispered about ancient legends tied to the mountains. Canberra. While exploring Canberra village in Tanah Toraja, a tourist stumbled upon a strange tree. Its trunk was dotted with small wooden boxes. Curious, he asked the locals about it. Their answer left him speechless. These were baby graves. In this village, newborns who passed away were buried inside this tree. The people believed the tree would absorb their spirits, keeping them pure and innocent. As the tree healed, it symbolized the babies growing with it. Standing before the tree, he realized it wasn't just a burial site. It was sacred, a tradition that kept the memory of those little souls alive. Tree statue secret. In a remote village, an ancient camphor tree stands tall, hiding a secret within its hollow trunk. Villagers discovered a statue of Zhu Xi, a famous Chinese philosopher, tucked inside. Its calm face seemed to watch over the land, undisturbed for who knows how long. No one could say who placed it there or why. Some say it was hidden to protect it during troubled times. Others believe it was meant to guard the village, silently guiding those who walked by. The tree and the statue felt connected, like they shared an ancient bond. Giant web. An explorer wandering through the forest found a massive web wrapped around an old tree trunk. It was stretching across the branches like a giant net. But what kind of spider could create such a thing? Then he got to know the truth. These weren't spider webs at all. They were made by fall webworm caterpillars. These tiny creatures spin huge webs to protect themselves while they munch on the leaves. Interesting, right? Good luck tree. At Malian Spout Waterfall in Gothland, visitors found an unusual tree. It looked like toadstools growing out of a fallen tree trunk. But as they got closer, they realized it was something else entirely. These were pennies, hundreds of them wedged into the wood. Local tradition says that people slot these coins in for good luck, hoping their wishes come true as the tree grows with their dreams. Some believe it wards off illness, while others see it as a way to leave a piece of themselves behind. Standing before the coin-filled trunk, they wondered how many wishes were hidden within that ancient wood. World War II bomber wreckage. A traveler was exploring the dense jungles of the Solomon Islands, hoping to find a piece of history hidden in nature. And he did. He stumbled upon the wreckage of a Japanese medium bomber. It was the same type that sank the British battleships. Just imagine, a plane that once carried a crew of 5 to 7 men, loaded with a torpedo bomb, now lying in pieces, forgotten by time. It's crazy to think how something so powerful could end up like this. Sunken British tank. In Poland's Water River, researchers made a startling find using sonar technology. Buried deep in the riverbed was a British Valentine tank, perfectly preserved, as if time had stood still. This tank has quite a story. In 1945, during brutal fighting on the Eastern Front, it was struck by enemy fire and sank into the river, disappearing without a trace. For decades, it lay hidden beneath layers of mud that protected it from rust and decay. Now, after all these years, the tank is being preserved and studied. It's not just a piece of machinery, it's a window into history, holding secrets of a battle that once raged fiercely above those waters. Giant shell discovery. It was Christmas Day, and a couple was out for a stroll along a stream south of Buenos Aires, Argentina. Just a peaceful walk, until they noticed something odd sticking out of the riverbank. It was greenish and pebbly, half buried in the dirt. At first, they thought they'd stumbled upon a massive dinosaur egg, but as they dug a little deeper, they realized they were wrong. What they uncovered was even more incredible, a nearly complete meter-long shell. It looked ancient, like it belonged to a creature from another time. And it did. It belonged to a giant beast that roamed South America over 10,000 years ago. A creature that had vanished long before humans even knew it existed. Giant petrified mushroom. While exploring a dense forest, a tourist noticed something unusual towering above the ground. At first glance, it seemed like an old tree trunk, but as they moved closer, they realized it wasn't a tree at all. It was a giant mushroom, petrified and ancient. Its rough, stone-like surface looked worn by time, yet its shape was unmistakable. It was far bigger than any they'd ever seen. Some believe it's a leftover from a time before the Great Flood, when life on Earth was much larger. Just imagining a world with mushrooms this massive is mind-boggling. It really makes you wonder how different Earth once was. Giant snake scales. A fisherman in Thailand found a massive odd object across a dry swamp. Soon he realized it was a giant snake scale, stretching tens of meters, lying amidst the undergrowth. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The scale seemed to trail from the top of a tree and deep into the bushes. It was hard to believe such a gigantic creature could exist. Snakes are real, of course, but nothing this big. The largest ever recorded is only about 8 to 9 meters. Some believe it might be from a titanoboa, the prehistoric giant snake that once roamed the earth. Voodoo doll discovery.
Oh my god. Okay.
Sometimes, curiosity leads us to things we were never meant to see. A man was out walking his dog when he noticed an old tree that had fallen to the ground. As he looked closer, an odd object tied to one of the branches caught his eye. The moment he realized what it was, he threw it away in shock. It was a voodoo doll. These dolls are often linked to sinister rituals, and people believe they shouldn't be touched. Was it just a coincidence that the tree had fallen? Or was the doll behind it? Well, one can only wonder.
Jesus Christ.
It's time for today's open discussion. In Sri Lanka, at a place called Ranmasu Uyana, there's a strange stone artifact that has left archaeologists puzzled. Hidden in this ancient site is a circular carving with an intricate design. It looks like a complex circuit diagram or a technical blueprint. Locals believe it's more than just a carving. They say it's a stargate, a portal through which gods traveled from other planets. This legend has been passed down for generations, and the mystery only deepens with each visit. Some believe this ancient carving is proof that aliens once visited Earth, sharing knowledge far beyond human understanding. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.